Hi guys, I'm Alexandra. I'm just your average traveling fairy doing what I can to enjoy each moment at a time. I've spent the last year traveling around the States with my husband in a minivan. It's been quite the whirlwind, so I'm really excited to finally sit down and share my adventure with you. From our cross-country road trip to backpacking Southeast Asia and honestly so much more. It all started September 5th, 2018 in San Diego, California, where we drove north from in our minivan through the Sierras. I'm going to go ahead and share the video we took from the first few days of traveling around California. While showing you this video, I'm going to go ahead and talk about how this adventure came to be and why the heck we did it in the first place. How we manifested our magical little minivan and what the first few days felt like, starting in the Sequoia National Forest. Let's go. It all started when my husband, our roommates, and I found out the house we were living in and renting had been sold. And on top of that, we had 2 months to move out. Yes, my husband and I lived with roommates. They are two of our very best friends, so it was kind of like having a giant sleepover every night. Also, living with roommates meant we were able to save money, like a lot of money, honey, so don't cry for me. I'm an airy, fairy, intuitive type, so naturally I figured us having to move out was meant to be. This would be our chance to find the perfect place for us to call home, minus roommates, before becoming married quote-unquote adults. We had saved money and 2 months to figure it out, so no big deal. We had plenty of time to find a home. I'm a law of attraction kind of a girl, so I believe everything happens for a reason and will work out the way it's supposed to. Okay, well, not in this case. In retrospect, finding a place to live in San Diego just wasn't meant to be, though. About 2 to 3 weeks into driving around San Diego neighborhoods looking for rent signs and flipping through the pages of Craigslist, things got pretty real. Our search for a new place to call home quickly turned from serene to straight up frantic. Think tears. Lots and lots of tears. We pretty much realized we were not willing to spend the amount of money required to live in a tiny apartment or a studio. Working to live, being tied to one job and one house that we wouldn't own. So we came up with a better idea. Instead of fighting the tide and scrambling to settle for a home that we didn't love and was overpriced, we chose the path of least resistance. Becoming homeless! Oh my god, just kidding, but actually kinda not kidding. Since Johnner and I had met, we had talked and dreamt of traveling the world and living on the road. Kind of a lot. Like, we've even written it down in my manifestation diary before. Well, ta-da! It seemed like our opportunity had presented itself. We decided we would buy a super sexy minivan to live in and travel across the country for a few months. The first month, we would just decompress, traveling around a few national parks. Second month, we would work and stay in Michigan with my husband, Johnner's family. Third month, we would drive over to my family on Martha's Vineyard, an island off the coast of Massachusetts, work and chill for 1 more month. And at the end of our third month, we would leave our van in my grandma's backyard for the winter in Martha's Vineyard and take off for Southeast Asia. By the time we had thought our plan into existence, we had 1 month to move out. So yeah, back to reality. We immediately started selling everything, like everything, from the plants on the patio to the bed in our bedroom to our cars parallel parked out on the street. Like for real, guys, I sold clothes, lamps, mirrors, bookshelves, tables, shoes, picture frames, dressers. Yeah, you get the freaking idea. Pretty much anything that wasn't going to fit in a minivan or come with us to Asia had to go. Needless to say, moving out was pretty intense and could honestly be a whole video in of itself, so let me know if you ever want to hear about our minimizing process. I like to think I'm a minimizing princess unicorn. So, by the time our 2-month moving out buzzer rang, we were not ready. I still had to sell a few things, including my car. I needed to box up and find temporary homes for sentimental items to keep, like a few rugs, an old antique dresser, photos, and clothes. Oh yeah, did I mention Johnner had literally 22 surfboards to figure out what to do with?
Plus, we still had to find a minivan and make it comfortable to live and travel in. All that with nowhere to live. Lucky for us, we have friends that lived just a few blocks away from our old house. They were nice enough to offer us to stay with them for a month. Did I mention our friends are saints? During those 30-ish days, we were somehow able to make magic happen, and everything fell into place perfectly. It was going a lot better than trying to find a house, honestly. Everything we couldn't sell or wasn't coming with us was either gifted to friends and family or boxed up to be stored at families. I sold my car and we found the perfect frickin' minivan. If you want to hear how we manifested our minivan, I linked a blog post I wrote about it below. If you like magic like me, then you should definitely read it. It's a pretty trippy story. Also, let me know if you'd like me to make a video on manifestation. Before I tell you the rest of our story though, let me explain why we wanted to travel in a minivan. First of all, it was literally the cheapest possible way to travel across the states. Since we planned on selling the minivan once we got back from Asia, we figured the only money we would spend in the end would be on gas, tune-ups, and whatever the depreciation was. 2, we would have a place to sleep for free while we were road tripping. We wouldn't have to worry about finding or paying for a campsite or hotel room. And 3, we wanted to kind of like test drive the whole van lifestyle, no pun intended. We wanted to see if we liked living and traveling in a van. If we liked it, then we would plan on buying and converting a Sprinter van to live in full-time when we got back from Asia, which we did, and I'll get into that a different time. After manifesting our magical minivan and our stress mellowed out, we were able to enjoy spending our last 10 days getting the van ready to live and travel in. I linked another blog post below in the description detailing how we set up the minivan to live, travel, and sleep in, and how much it all cost. We honestly didn't put absolutely everything in the van until the day we drove off. We were thanking our freaking lucky stars it all fit. Just another little affirmation from the universe we were on the right track. After we packed our Mary Poppins van, our friends were there to send us off into the sunset. Rush hour. Since everything had gone so eerily well and fell into perfect perfection for us to take this leap of faith, I was kinda low-key holding my breath that nothing would go wrong on our way out of San Diego. All I could think about was someone rear-ending us during rush hour and then the engine bursting into flames. But also at the same time, just so excited and amazed that this adventure we dreamt up and worked ourselves into exhaustion over was finally starting. Fortunately for us, I didn't manifest our engine bursting into flames. After lots of rush hour Southern California traffic, we made it to Bakersfield later that night and spent our first night in a luxurious Walmart parking lot. FYI, if you're ever in a pinch on a road trip and you want to sleep in your car, most Walmart parking lots are legally okay to do that in. We decided to stay the night in Bakersfield because we wanted to drive into the Sequoia National Forest during daylight. We used our handy-dandy iOverlander app on our phones, and all we could find near us was a Walmart parking lot. iOverlander is an app that shows you a map of literally thousands of places you can camp for free in your car. Right as we were falling asleep in our little minivan for the first time, bam! A really old man hit our bumper. At least the engine wasn't on fire. We got so ridiculously lucky in the spot he dented our bumper. We wound up being able to get it out ourselves, and we got $500 in insurance claim money. Thanks, Walmart! We woke up and felt weirdly amazing, considering where we had woke up and what had happened the night before. Anyways, we literally couldn't get the hell out of that Walmart parking lot faster than we did. Driving into the Sequoia National Forest felt like such a major effing relief. There was no more waking up from the dream anymore. All the little weird, anxious thoughts I had flew out the freaking window. Even though, in retrospect, that was rationally the place I should have been anxious about our car bursting into flames into, because there was literally no one around except for this guy named Lonnie who had a bunny on his head when we met him at a hot spring. Yeah, you guys. Yeah. Just remember, I never claimed to be logical or rational. I said I love magic, okay? After ditching Lonnie and his adorable bunny, we hiked to the most beautiful hot spring right on a river, Remington Hot Springs, just in case you're curious. We went back and forth between soaking in the hot spring and hopping in the river, until my anxiety about Lonnie breaking into our car at the top of the hill reached an uncomfortable high. We kept driving north for about an hour or so. We found a free campsite right on the highway and right on the river. We set up for the night, made dinner, and realized that where we were in that moment was our house, because our van was literally our house. Wherever we were was home. And thank God we didn't realize that the night before in the Walmart parking lot. Driving around the Sequoia National Forest the next day was hot, and not in a Paris Hilton circa 2006 way, like in a 90-degree way, like so effing hot. Walking into the sequoias, though, was so magical. When I saw those trees, it was pretty much love at first sight. The bark on the trees felt so soft and spongy. It reminded me of like skin or like a fingerprint. They honestly felt more like big animals than trees to me. A few days later, we woke up early, like super duper early when the stars were still out early, to go on a sunrise hike at Morro Rock in the Sequoia National Forest. But we took a few wrong turns and didn't make it in time. It was still a lovely hike though. After our hike, we pulled over on the side of the road to hug some big trees because when in Rome, you know? We hugged a lot of freaking trees, by the way. After some serious tree hugging and a quick dip in the river, we went on a really pretty nature walk at Crescent Meadow. I remember on this day, it really started to sink in that we had nowhere we needed to be and we could really just enjoy each moment. It was like a brain massage. It was probably the first time in my life that I felt complete freedom. Yes, I mean, we still had to figure out how we were getting to Asia at the end of the year, plus how we were going to make money along the way. I mean, we still had to pay our bills, but free from the frenetic, chaotic energy of cities and highways, free to live a life that was pretty peaceful. I was starting to let go of the idea that I had been clinging to my entire life. The idea that I was supposed to live life the way that other people, most people do. I was free to figure it all out along the way while living a life that felt good. Like I said earlier, we used this road trip as a test run to see if we'd like to give the whole van life thing a real go. And not to ruin the surprise, but we freaking loved it. In fact, we loved it so much we just bought a 2019 Ram ProMaster and are currently converting it. Go check out my Instagram link below to see our new van and how far we've come along in converting it. I've also posted tons of photos of our travels from the last year. Also, like I mentioned earlier, I also linked a few blog posts. If you want to see Lonnie and his bunny, check out the Sequoia National Forest post.
Thank you so much for tuning into our adventure. We honestly had such a blast this last year and our minds just completely blown that there's nothing more I'd rather do than share it with you. Stay tuned for tons more videos and follow us along to Glacier National Park, the Philippines, Bali, and so much more. Go ahead and ask me any questions that you're curious about. I'd love to answer them and can't wait to talk to you soon. Love you.